Having considered over trading as one of the problem in working capital, let us look at the management of working capital. Firstly, we want to deal with the inventory control. The inventory is one of the key elements in working capital. So let's start with the inventory control. So we'll start with management of working capital. Here, the first element we want to consider is the inventory, and we'll have material purchase quantity, material purchase quantities using the EOQ model. So many companies, particularly manufacturing and retailing companies, might hold large amounts of inventory, even the ones they don't need, and they usually hold inventory so that they can meet customers' demand as soon as it arises. If there is no inventory when the customer asks for it, that is, if there is a stock out or inventory out, the customer might buy the product from a competitor instead. So, however, holding inventory also creates cost. Holding of inventory also has its own cost. Like for instance, the holding cost is also need to be checked. So let's look at the minimizing material cost. Minimizing material cost. Companies that purchase and consume large quantity of materials should try to minimize their total cost for any item of material, which consists of the cost of material purchase first, that is the purchase cost. Secondly, it consists of the cost of making purchase order to buy the material, that is ordering costs need to be checked. And finally, we talk about the cost of holding the inventory, which we call holding cost. It is known as holding cost. So in most cases, the most significant cost is the purchase cost, because it's always large. Is the purchase cost of the material. However, ordering cost and holding cost might also be substantial. So let's deal with the first, which is the holding cost. Holding costs for inventory include costs such as the interest cost of the investment in inventory, the cost of losses through holding inventory due to obsolescence, deterioration in the condition of the inventory, and also theft of inventory item. Then see under the holding cost, the next is the cost of insurance of inventory, if insurance is placed on the inventory. Then we'll talk about the holding cost as another key cost, the order cost, the ordering cost or order cost. Now the order cost. Now, see on the holding cost, the investment in inventory has a cost too, as I stated earlier on. The capital is tied up in inventory, and the capital investment has a cost itself. So, inventory has to be paid for, and when an organization holds a quantity of inventory, it must therefore obtain what we call finance to pay for it. For example, suppose that a company holds between 0 units and 10,000 units, between 0 units and 10,000 units of an item of material. The cost is 10 naira per unit to purchase. Now, the cost of the material held in the store therefore varies between 0 naira and 100,000. So on average, the cost of the inventory in store is likely to be about 50,000 naira. So this inventory must be financed, and it is usually to assume for simplicity that it is financed by borrowing, so that by borrowing that has an interest cost. So in this example, if the interest cost of holding inventory is 5% per year, the cost per year holding the inventory will just be 50,000 by 5%, and that will be 2,500 naira. So there are also running expenses incurred in holding an inventory, such as the warehousing cost, that is with the warehouse rental, wages or salaries of the warehouse staff, and a distinction can be made between variable inventory holding cost, that is cost of capital, cost of loss through deterioration and loss, and the fixed inventory cost, wages and salaries of the warehouse renter, so and so on. So charging inventory levels will changing inventory levels will affect the variable inventory holding cost, but not the fixed cost of inventory. Now let's really look at the ordering cost, or what we call the order cost. The order costs are the cost of making orders to purchase a quantity of a material item from a supplier. They include costs such as the cost of delivery of the purchased item, the cost of delivery of the purchased item if these are paid for by the buyer. Now the cost associated with placing an order, such as the cost of telephone calls and whatever that has transpired within the time of placing order. Then the cost associated with checking the inventory after delivery from the supplier, like inspection cost and what have you. So those are the costs we call order cost. Now, in practice, the best model that can be used to manage inventory is what we call the EOQ, that is the economic order quantity. The economic order quantity. The economic order quantity model, EOQ, is a mathematical model that can be used to calculate the quantity of inventory to order from a supplier each time that an order is made. We believe the order will be economical. Now, the aim of the model is to identify the order quantity for any item of inventory that will minimize the total annual inventory cost. However, it has its own assumptions too. EOQ has its own assumption. Let's look at the several assumptions in the basic EOQ model. They are as follows. 1. The first assumption is that there are no bulk purchase discounts for making orders in large sizes. So all units purchased for each item of material cost the same unit price. So there's no discount, or zero discount is assumed. Then annual demand for the inventory item is constant throughout the year. That is, the annual demand is constant. And thirdly, the order lead time. So the time between placing an order and receiving delivery from the supplier is what we call the lead time. We are saying the lead time is predictable, so that the delivery of a new order is always timed to coincide with the running out of the inventory. And also part of the assumption is, as a result of knowing the lead time, there are never any stock out. Then also, as a result, the minimum inventory level at any time is 0, and the maximum inventory level is the size of the order quantity. The maximum inventory time is the size of the order quantity. Let's quickly proceed in looking at the economic model formula. If the price of material is the same, no matter what the size of the purchase order, the purchase order quantity that minimizes total cost is the quantity at which the ordering cost plus the cost of holding inventory are minimized. So this order quantity or purchase quantity that minimizes the total annual cost of ordering the item plus holding it in the store is called the economic order quantity, the EOQ. So EOQ minimizes ordering cost plus what? Plus holding cost. EOQ minimizes what? Ordering cost plus holding cost. So what is ordering cost? What is ordering cost? Ordering cost each year is CO times D divided by Q. That is ordering cost. And inventory holding cost. Inventory holding cost each year is Q over 2. Q over 2 times CH. Okay, let's define our variables where Q is the quantity of materials purchased in each order. That is the EOQ. Okay, then D on the other hand is the annual demand. The annual demand for the material. CO is the cost of making an order. The cost of making an order for materials, where CH is the cost of holding 1 unit of material in store for 1 year. Now we need to note this: there will be an immediate supply of new material as soon as existing quantity in store runs down to 0. Now the minimum quantity held in store is therefore 0 units, and these always occur just before a new purchase order quantity is received. Now the maximum quantity is Q units. The average amount of inventory held is therefore Q divided by 2, and total holding cost each year is now Q divided by 2 times the holding cost per unit. Now the number of order each year is demand divided by the quantity. So that total holding cost each year are now therefore demand divided by quantity times total ordering cost per unit. So the economic order quantity EOQ is the order size that we minimize the total of this cost during a period, normally a year, and given the assumption state above. So the formula for EOQ is now EOQ equals to 2C D over CH. So the formula is given, that's the formula for EOQ. Unlike ACCA, the formula will be given to you in the exam in the booklet. But ICAN, cramming the formula is part of the exam. Okay, let's see our question. Let's take this example. Okay, let's see the example. A company uses what 120,000 units of material X each year. That is the demand. D equals to 120,000 units. Okay, the cost of placing an order, the ordering cost, CO 605. The annual cost of holding costs, or sometimes we call it carrying cost. So let me have it as CH. The annual cost of holding inventory each year is 10% of the purchase cost. 10% of the purchase cost. Okay, which is 0.1 times the purchase cost per unit is 3. It's 3 naira. So 0.1 times 3, that is 0.3. 0.3. Okay, so can we quickly give it a solution? So what is the order quantity for material X that will minimize annual costs? So the formula is 2 COD over CH. That is the formula. So let's quickly solve that. EOQ equals to 2 by 120 by 605, all of these divided by 0.3. So this will be square root of 484,000,000, and that will give us 22,000 units. Okay, the economic order quantity is 22,000 units, which means that the average number of order placed with supply will be annual demand 120 divided by 22,000. Numbers of orders in a year 120, 1 to 3 divided by 22,000. So that is 5.45. That is numbers of order is 5.45 per year. So 5, that is 50. That is 5.45. That is the numbers of orders. Okay. Let's move further. EOQ, annual holding cost, equals to annual ordering costs. EOQ, annual holding cost, equals to what? Annual ordering costs. Yes, it might be useful to know that the EOQ is also an order quantity where the total annual cost of ordering and the total annual holding cost are exactly the same in the example that we have just concluded. Now let us quickly see it. We have gotten our EOQ now to be okay. We have gotten our EOQ to be 22,000 units. At economic order quantity, annual ordering cost is equal to annual holding cost. That is very, very key. You have to note that. But let's quickly test. Just look at it. What is our annual ordering cost? What's our annual ordering cost? Our annual ordering cost is CO times D divided by Q. Okay, so let's go. What is the CO? The ordering cost 605 multiplied by the demand. What is the demand? 120. What is the economic order quantity? 22. So we have 605 multiplied by numbers of order. Numbers of order will be 5.45 like that. So let's keep it. So what you do is that when you divide these, whatever results you get, multiply it with the total times 0.605. So it is 33,000. So this is 3,300. That's the ordering cost. Okay. Then let's look at our annual holding cost. Annual holding cost. What is our annual holding cost? That is, our annual holding cost is Q divided by 2 times CH, which is the holding cost per unit. So let's see, what is our EOQ? Our EOQ is 22,000. We'll divide it by 2, multiply by the holding cost per unit of 0.3 per unit, or 0 naira 30 kobo, whichever way you want to do it. So this is 11,000 multiplied by 0.30. So 11,000 multiplied by 0.33, and that will give us also 3,300. So at EOQ, ordering cost is equal to holding cost. So this is 3,300. So at EOQ, ordering cost is equal